And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Monday morning's flying weather showing a band of IFR here with a frontal system out over the Bering Sea, pushing across Adak and then into Atka Island in the afternoon hours. Off to the east, VFR on Alaska Island, right up across Bristol Bay. And most of the western and especially the eastern interior, some IFR up here near Denali Park, and marginal VFR for the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast, and also for the Copper River Basin down to Prince William Sound. Back to Kodiak Island with some IFR right up the east coast there of the island, just clipping Chiniak Bay there, and marginal VFR across Yakutat. Panhandle shaping up pretty good, mostly VFR. And for the afternoon, VFR here for the southeast coast, maybe some marginal VFR down toward Prince of Wales Island, but nothing too serious. And IFR now with a trough kind of spreading westward here into northern Cook Inlet from Prince William Sound and extending north into the Susitna Valley, especially over the Talkeetna Mountains and at least the northern Kenai Peninsula. But to the north here, good VFR until you get to the central and eastern Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast, marginal VFR there, across the northern Bering Sea, and a band of IFR here right along the lower Yukon River Valley out toward the Yukon Delta, northern Kuskokwim Delta or so, definitely across Nunivak Island, and then down across the Pribilofs to the eastern Aleutians. And for the Tuesday morning outlook, IFR just south of St. Lawrence Island, otherwise marginal VFR for the Bering Sea, areas of marginal VFR for the Aleutians into the Alaska Peninsula, with the IFR zone here, Bristol Bay, the Aleutian Range into Kodiak Island, up into southern Cook Inlet and Kachemak, Kamishak Bay into Resurrection Bay. Marginal VFR for Prince William Sound, and some marginal VFR extending up into the upper Tanana Valley or so, but VFR for the Copper River Basin and areas over toward the border here, down into the, most of the Panhandle, still some marginal VFR there over the southern southeast coast, and less of that for the afternoon hours with good VFR right up to Lynn Canal Glacier Bay over to Yakutat. IFR here along the North Gulf Coast into Prince William Sound, across southern Alaska here, especially over the mountainous terrain, Bristol Bay, but to the north, good VFR right up across the Brooks Range, and marginal VFR for the Arctic coast, Bering Sea, and the Aleutians. Passes, Anatuvik, marginal VFR to start. So gradual, looking for improving throughout the day here for Anatuvik and Adigan, becoming VFR. And for Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR day coming up for Monday, and rainy, starting out marginal, becoming VFR. And windy, a little lower on the conditions there. IFR turning toward marginal VFR in the afternoon. Isabel, look for the lowest conditions early on, becoming VFR otherwise. And from Antasta, good VFR. Tanita, marginal VFR, becoming IFR. Portage, IFR. And Chilkoot and White, VFR. Freezing levels here at the surface south of the Pribilofs there, and the Alaska Peninsula, just east of Kodiak Island, 2,000 feet, nudging up toward Adak Island with that front, trying to pull some warmer air northward there into the central Aleutians. And for the southern southeast coast, about 2,000 feet. And icing, with that warmer air down there, it could be some considerable moderate rime icing into the southern panhandle, otherwise icing free to the north, maybe some light isolated icing here for the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound area. And then another batch of that front pushing eastward here across the Pribilofs, down to the eastern Aleutians, into the Alaska Peninsula. And for the jet stream, west-southwest flow here, pushing that front eastward. Good jet here, just grazing the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, about 120 knots out of the west-northwest across Sitkinak Island. And then it dives southeastward off the chart, and then southwest flow here at about 85 knots across the northern southeast coast. And at 9,000 feet, pretty light winds here across the Panhandle, Gulf of Alaska, most of southern Alaska into Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island. But we've got basically southwest to southeast winds, 35 to 40 knots on the east side of this low near St. Lawrence Island. Stronger westerlies here across the Aleutians and southern Bering Sea. Then at 3,000 feet, south to north flow here, 50 or about 45 to 60 knots, strongest for the Alaska Peninsula there, ahead of that system pushing eastward. Otherwise, light winds here over the central and eastern part of the state from the Arctic coast down into the Gulf of Alaska. Southeast winds or east-southeasterlies at about 35 knots there, starting to affect Prince of Wales Island. And with that will be light to isolated moderate turbulence as well, mainly over Dixon Entrance. Maybe some mechanical turbulence for Lynn Canal and the northern inside channels here. Otherwise, not too bad turbulence-wise over much of the state, especially the interior, but considerable moderate turbulence likely for the Alaska Peninsula to the eastern Aleutians. That's shifting eastward with that frontal system, and then another batch out there over the west central Aleutians.